Hi everybody, welcome to Ash Creek News. I'm Matthias. In the studio here we have Gareth and Barbara. Should be a good show today. Yes. So we have Barbara in the studio today to talk about the Twilight Zone. So Barbara, what is your experience with the Twilight Zone?
Well, I've been a fan of the Twilight Zone, the series, the original series, for a long time. And in fact, in June of 1982, I was at a little magazine shop on Robson Street in Vancouver, and I stumbled across this issue of the Twilight Zone magazine, which I didn't know existed at that time. And I picked it up and thought it was absolutely amazing magazine about the Twilight Zone, fantastic fiction. And so actually, as you can see by the label on here, Barbara Haycock, Lancelot Drive, Richmond, BC. This was the first magazine I ever actually sent a check away and said, here's my money, give me a subscription to your magazine. So I have the complete run of the Twilight Zone magazine. And no, I've been a fan of the series, which is such a classic in so many ways. I mean, there was the original series in 1959 to 64, and then there have been 3 new TV series called The Twilight Zone since then, plus there was the Twilight Zone movie in 1983. So it's a series and an idea that just keeps on being relevant to new generations of people.
So when they contacted the village, what was the first thing that went through your head when you realized, oh shoot, the Twilight Zone wants to film an episode here?
I didn't realize how much they were going to be filming here. I thought maybe they'd be doing a few exterior scenes, a little bit of location filming, some of our buildings and streets. But when I heard it was the Twilight Zone, I was really excited because, you know, being part of that Twilight Zone history, such a big part of North American culture for more than half a century. So it was really nice to have Ashcroft have that Twilight Zone connection. And then as the people were here in December last year doing location scouting, taking pictures, figuring out where they were going to be filming, what they had to do, and then they moved in January. And when I saw them building the replica of Zion United Church across from the Journal office on 4th Street, I was absolutely amazed. And I found out they had to do it because they needed it for exterior filming as well as interior filming. But it was in the wrong place. So they needed to rebuild the church so that when they were doing the exterior shots, it was near all the other buildings that they were going to be using for the exteriors. So that was really my first inclination of how big this was going to be, that they were actually rebuilding the church for part of the filming. And for the 2 or 3 weeks that they were filming here, it was enormous. And I mean, I saw such excitement. Usually that block of 4th Street is pretty quiet. You get people coming into the post office, but on weekends it's dead. And on the weekend, in the middle of filming, they opened up the street for the Sunday because they weren't doing any filming. And it was like a parade of people going past. It was just amazing to see the people who were driving by and stopping their cars and looking around, taking pictures of the set, and talking to a lot of the film crew who were here. They were absolutely overwhelmed by how welcoming everyone was, how enthusiastic. They said they had nothing but positive comments from residents, people saying, thank you for coming, great to have you here. So it was a really good experience for the crew as well.
Cool. Thanks, Ashcroft, for being so awesome. So having you worked relatively close with the production, so you probably got some of the ins and outs of the story and kind of what was going on. Being someone that often talks to people like residents of Ashcroft and just having your whole life being in Ashcroft, was it hard to keep some of those secrets from people that you talk to?
It was, because one of the things people know about Twilight Zone, even if you don't really know the series, is that there's a twist, right? Like there's the twist in the story, and so there's sort of that onus to keep quiet about the twist. And so from talking to various people involved with the production, I was actually able to piece together most of the plot and the storyline. So it was really difficult to keep that kind of quiet and keep it under wraps because you don't want to ruin it for people, you know, the spoiler alert thing. You don't want people to go into it already having it all laid out for them what exactly the plot is. So yeah, it was tough to keep that quiet. And then I was one of the background people on the show. And so you have to actually sign a non-disclosure agreement saying that you will not take photographs on the set, you will not reveal anything that you see or overhear or are a part of as part of the production. So there was that as well.
So for those of you who don't know, we at the Hub are going to be screening the episode that was filmed here of The Twilight Zone on Friday. So, Barbara, what was the process that went into being able to show the screening?
Well, back in what I now think of as the before time, before COVID, Vicki Weller, the film commissioner for the Thompson Nicola Film Commission, she dropped by the Journal office on Saturday the 8th of February, which was in the middle of filming, and she'd come by to see what was going on, take a look at the set, etc. So we were just talking, and she said, wow, wouldn't it be great if we could have a public screening? And I said, wow, that would be fantastic. And so we kind of tossed it around, and the idea at that time was to have, you know, because I said, well, the Hub's got the space, they've got the equipment, etc. We could, you know, have the gym full of chairs, 300 people, etc. And so that was kind of where it was left at that time. And then the pandemic struck, we had the lockdowns. I was hearing that a lot of TV shows were just shutting down. A lot of TV shows couldn't complete their seasons because they either couldn't keep filming or the special effects couldn't be put in. And so it was kind of in limbo. And then when I heard that CBS was going ahead, they'd finished the series, they were releasing all the episodes on June 25th, I thought, okay, well, maybe we can still make the screenings happen. And I looked into a drive-in movie option, but that was really, really expensive. And you can only have 50 cars, and so that was going to be limited. So then I thought, okay, well, we still have the Hub. We can still have a movie screening, 50 people maximum, and physical distancing, etc. So can we make it happen this way? So I got in touch with Vicki Weller, and we kind of hashed this back and forth a bit, you know, what could it look like? I got in touch with the Hub, said, all right, you know, can we do this? And she got in touch with CBS and said, is it possible to get the rights? And she explained it was going to be a free public screenings for people here in Ashcroft where it was filmed. And CBS was great. They said, yeah, we can send you the file. The Hub was great. They said, yeah, we can do all the setup. We can provide the facilities. So we said, okay, let's do it. So we thought, okay, 2 days, 6 screenings in the morning, afternoon, and evening, so that everyone has a chance to see it who wants to see it. And let's make this thing happen, because it would just be a great way to get people to see the episode and see it as part of a group, because that's what's part of the fun about going to the movies, is you're seeing it with a whole bunch of other people and you're all reacting at the same time rather than sitting alone in your living room or in front of your computer. So we thought it would be wonderful to have that group experience with everyone reacting. And there's going to be a lot of, I know, oh, look, there's Jim Murtell. Oh, you know, oh, look, that's the Central Cafe. And I think it's really going to be a wonderful experience for people. And to see us on the big screen, and to see how Ashcroft looks really to an outsider, because this view of Ashcroft is the same thing that millions of people are going to be getting.
Yeah, well, thank you, Barbara, and thank you everyone involved for helping to put together that screening. I'm excited. I think it's going to be super awesome. It's definitely going to be an experience. That's all that I have for questions for you. Okay. Is if there's anything else that you'd like to share, please feel free.
Just that I thank you, as you said, Matthias, thank you to the people of Ashcroft for being so welcoming, because it was an inconvenience for a lot of people. Obviously, streets blocked off and not able to get into the post office. And I think the company did a really good job of accommodating people. And there was just such an air of excitement. I mean, I went through and was looking through my file of photos I took while they were doing the filming and building the sets. And there was just so much excitement and so much enthusiasm for it. And I think it's going to be really great to have the public screenings and get that excitement back again.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming in, Barbara. Okay. Thank you for talking. And so the Hub is doing a monthly fundraiser. Jessica and Beth made a video to show all you guys, so let's go over to that.
My name is Jessica. I am with the Hub Online Network, and we are here today to talk about the next fundraising opportunity with the Hub. And I'm joined by Beth, who is a sipologist with Sipology by Steeped Tea, and she's going to tell us about all of the different teas that are available for the month of July through the Hub fundraiser. Welcome, awesome. Beth.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for coming. So, tea.
So, tea is such an amazing thing. Like, I'm not a coffee drinker at all. I'm a tea drinker fully. I have a tea here. This is not one of the things for sale, but it is something I drink tea all the time. And Steep Tea offers an amazing opportunity for people who are needing to fundraise. $12 for every single item, so it's super simple for people to understand how much something is, and then 40% of the profits go directly to the company. So that's $4.80 of every sale, which is, it's big, right? Yeah, it's lots. And so what they've done is that we have 8 different teas and then 3 different accessories that can be bought. There's no change in how much it is, so it's just those 8, which makes it a bit easier. Every bag, none of these bags are actually the correct size that we've got here because they're specific for the fundraisers.
Yes, they are.
So they are 50-gram bags, and they work out to about 15 cups of tea for each bag. So when you're looking at $12 to 15 cups, it's a bit cheaper than even going, yes, less than $1. Less than $1 per cup, which if you compare it to, you know, going to your local coffee shops or your tea shops or whatever, or even buying like a bag of tea, which is consumption included, it's a relatively good cost and price-wise. Steep Tea, or Sipology by Steep Tea, we branded ourselves, but it's the same company, prides itself in using all natural ingredients. There's no MSGs, there's no pesticides in anything we use. There's no added sugars unless it's very specifically stated that it has added sugar. The only time we use the sugars is if, say, we're doing a fruit and we have to dry it, like a pineapple, it needs to have a slight amount of sugar. It doesn't even come up when you're looking at the nutrition facts. So it's really low in sugar, which is so good when you're making iced teas for kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the 2 things that I think are the best thing for iced teas that are here, and it's actually one of them's my favorite, is this Berry Mania. So, So this is the Berry Mania, and as you can see, it's actually like real pieces of fruit. In fact, you can actually eat this. Like you can actually eat it.
It's just fruit.
Because it's just fruit. Like it's just the fruit in here, right? And so this has elderberries, currants, hibiscus, and beetroot. So it's super yummy. Like you could just eat it. You could use them in a dip as well, which is so amazing for these things. Like you can use them for anything. The other one that we have is Butterbee Butterscotch. And if it smells like,
It smells like butterscotch.
It smells like butterscotch.
That's
yeah,
what it smells like.
Exactly.
Does it taste like that when you steep it too?
If you eat it, yes.
Yeah.
If you steep it, you get this flavor notes of
Yeah.
it. You're not going to feel like you're eating a butterscotch. You're not going to get that in any kind of drink. You're never going to get that, right? But you can add it with a nice rum.
Yeah.
And then you've got like that rum would really bring out that flavor.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing that's so amazing with our teas is that you can steep them in the drinks that you want to drink. So if I don't drink a lot of that stuff, but I have like the bubblies, right? So you get a lime bubbly, you pour it over top of your Berry Mania, and now you have a bubbly that has the Berry Mania taste in it. So it's really neat to be able to do that. Yeah.
So can you run down the 8 different flavor profiles of the teas that are available? Because there's a huge variety, and there's really probably something for every tea drinker.
Absolutely. So the first one that we have is the Earl Grey de la Creme, and Earl Grey de la Creme is the tea that started it all. It is amazing. It's really a light flavor, I would say. It's not strong, and it's not overpowering.
The bergamot is lower.
It's a lower bergamot. But you have those elderflowers, which kind of bring it out. A nice little taste to a little flowery taste to it, but it's one of my favorite teas. The second one is an English breakfast, and so these are 2 caffeinated or 2 black teas. And the way that I would explain an English breakfast is if you are a red roast drinker, this is the tea that you would want to drink. It has the same kind of flavors to it. It's a mixture of black tea, so it's not one specific black tea. It's a mixture of a black tea. It's a very simple flavor to it, but it is it's a stronger caffeine. I would say
all-around.
Exactly.
Switch out your coffee with a scone.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly with your little pinky up. The other 2 caffeine teas that we have is a mint chocolate chip rooibos, and that's only because it has the cocoa bean in it. So because the cocoa bean is in it, it actually gives it a little bit of a caffeine, but it's not a huge amount. And the last one is a creamy root beer, and the creamy root beer tea is a green tea. So it's just like the green tea base, if you want to take a sniff of that.
It smells like root beer.
It smells like root beer.
It smells like, does it taste that
You know
little
what?
hint of
It
root beer?
does. It does.
Because that would be very cool.
Yeah, it does taste a little bit like root beer. It's a green tea, so if you're a fan of green teas, it's a nice addition to your tea repertoire. Some people who don't really like green teas have started drinking, like they'll have some of these green teas and they're so flavorful that they're not just a plain, that bitter taste that you sometimes get in the green tea. They're not. The one thing though with green tea is that you definitely want to steep it the right amount, which is about 2 minutes, and not boiling water. Don't boil it, you'll pour it.
Just before it
Yeah,
starts to bubble.
exactly. Yeah.
Set your
And set your tea timer. And if you don't have one, I'll put an alarm clock. So then the other tea that we are selling as well is the orange dreamsicle. And again, it's a rooibos, but this one doesn't have any caffeine in it. It's got pineapple, so it does have the little tiny bit of sugar in it because of that pineapple.
Just to keep it.
Just to keep it.
That does smell like creamsicle.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
delicious.
Yeah.
It's
I
delicious.
can't have it in my house because it's pineapple. But
Okay, yeah, don't have that then. But the nice thing with that one, especially with the rooibos, they're a good afternoon tea or a good evening tea because you feel like you're getting that same kind of flavor from a black tea, but you're not getting the caffeine.
and it probably would be really nice cold.
Yes. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Amazing cold.
Yeah.
The really good iced tea.
Which, if we ever get summer, will be really nice
Yes.
to have
2 days ago we could have had it.
afternoon drinks
Yeah.
on the deck
Exactly.
in the sunshine,
So the last one that we have is actually a hot chocolate,
which is not a tea.
which is not a tea. So steep tea does do things other than tea. It does a hot chocolate, and the hot chocolate is a real deal hot chocolate, and it's not like a Cadbury hot chocolate. It's not like those carnation ones that you do like that. You do not want to do it with water. It's a milk based, it's a cocoa based. So you want to make sure that you're using milk for it as opposed to water, and then it doesn't need any added sugar to it unless you really feel like it's really not needed. It does have some in it, but it's a stevia in it, and it does have a slight amount of sugar. It's not
Just enough to probably take the bitterness out of it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
your cocoa is
exactly. Yeah, you don't want to have that exactly. So you could add a little bit of sugar to it, which is nice because then you can decide how much sugar you want to have as opposed to that processed stuff that we end up
And
getting
really,
in
if you
stores.
add a cup of marshmallows,
Exactly. Who needs anything but the marshmallows?
it's the only reason that my daughter wants hot chocolate is the marshmallows. And I'm like,
Yeah.
just tell me you want marshmallows and I'll give you marshmallows. You don't waste my hot chocolate.
Exactly.
That's all you want.
So and the nice thing about these hot chocolates is that they're rich. They're not thin. You're not feeling like you're drinking black water. You're drinking an actual thick, rich hot chocolate.
Oh, which we might need right now.
We might.
Maybe we'll just skip all of the summer drinks and go straight to cocoa.
Forget the fruit teas, iced teas that you could make. Go to the cocoa.
Straight to the cocoa.
Straight there.
So because these are loose leaf teas,
Yes.
you do need some sort of supplies to actually steep them.
Yes.
I mean, I guess some of them you could just steep and then just drink everything
Yes,
because
you
it's all
could.
fruit.
Yeah.
But part of the fundraising products are some of the products that you need to steep. said
Exactly.
tea. So
Yes.
tell me about those.
Okay, so the first one that we have that I'm going to show you is the spoon. Now, people kind of might mock it. Why would I buy a spoon specifically for this? But the nice thing is if you have one of these, you know how much you're getting. You're not having to worry. You're not having to use like one of those, a spoon that you would use for your dinner, right? It's about 1.5 teaspoons, so it's a little bit more than what directions would say because realistically that's talking about a cup and how many people really use just one literal 250 milliliter cup.
Yeah.
So this is great for when you're just scooping it out. So in each of my little bowls here, that is 1 scoop of tea.
Which is lots.
Yeah, it's a lot of tea. It makes enough. I mean, I do like this big thing. It's 500 milliliters and I did 1 scoop of tea.
Yeah.
So it's definitely worth it for that. It's also nice to have something that says 1 cup of tea.
Yes.
So-
And it's tiny. And
It's small.
Those people that probably say that they don't want that, they probably have an avocado slicer and a
Exactly.
strawberry huller and a pineapple knife and a watermelon knife.
I mean, exactly. I mean, I look in my cupboards and I have apple cores and pineapple cores because you need both, right? It's
Exactly.
so
You
much
can't.
easier. Exactly.
Can't use one for the other.
Exactly. So that's one of the things that we're doing. And again, each of these things is $12. So that is also $12. The only difference when these ones, the tea is all $12 without tax. The accessories are all taxable. So just because the tea is a food item, we don't tax them. So then the other two things that we have is this is called our mesh ball infuser. And so you just put your tea directly into the mesh ball, close it up, and then this can hang in your cup. It's lovely. I would recommend these for like the fruit teas or even like the black teas, but not necessarily for the rooibos.
Okay.
Just because the mesh is quite thin, like there is a bit of a hole, so you will get a little bit of debris in it from here. Not a huge amount, but if you don't like having floaties, then this may not be the best option for you. So the other option is the steeping sacks, and you get, so this is a package of actually 50, and you would get 2 of these because you get 100.
Yep.
So a steeping sack is actually quite large. So I actually use this for when I'm making a pot even. So
Yeah.
this fills enough. I can fill it with, you know, enough for a pot, which if you look at it, it's about 3 or 4 liters. And I still have enough room. I've even done like a double amount and I'm still having enough room. So it's just simple. You just open it up and then you can put your tea in and then hang it over the edge. You can even put your teas in, say you are going to work and you want to have tea there. You can even pre-package a bunch of them and put them in a little bowl or in a little Ziploc and you've got it ready to go. So in these ones, there's 50 of them in one box, but there's 100 for 12, which is a really good deal.
Absolutely.
So they're also all chlorine-free, biodegradable.
I was going to ask that.
Yeah,
Throw it in your compost.
Yeah,
with
you can
your-
throw
with
these
your
in your
teas.
compost. Yeah, you can definitely throw these in your compost. It's great for all the teas. So any of the teas that you want, this will work great for it. Even the rooiboses. So they're actually the ones that I tend to use more than anything if I'm using something other than an actual cup infuser. So those are the different options for accessories and makes it easier to use it.
So why should people drink tea? What's your top 3 reasons that people should drink tea?
Full of antioxidants. It's a different caffeine than you get in a coffee. Especially people talk to me about how, coffee makes them a bit awkward in the morning after their coffee. Tea doesn't do that. And it's so versatile. You can use any tea and make it into an iced tea. You can make it into a hard tea. You could make it just a black tea. You could sugar it to where you want, sweeten it to where you want. Don't sweeten it. It's absolutely. You can, one of the most interesting things that I've tried is making oatmeal with it, with the tea. So you
I
can
was
make,
thinking that the fruity one would be good for an oatmeal topper or a granola
Yeah.
topper or even sweetened yogurt.
yeah, for sure.
Do it the night before so that they...
It opens up a bit, yeah, because they're all dehydrated fruits. But making, if you really like I made an Earl Grey de la Creme oatmeal. So I steep my tea, I put my tea bag in my water as it's boiling, and then I use that water for my oatmeal.
I have used Earl Grey to make cake, and I've also actually used rooibos to make cake because vanilla costs so much right now.
Yeah.
So I steep my milk from my cake in a rooibos. Vanilla flavor, way less cost.
Way better, right?
And still that vanilla, yeah.
Yeah, so tea is so versatile. You can do it with you can use so many things for it. I love the company because of how much it does for the people who make the tea. Especially Steep Tea. What they've done is that they've partnered with tea growers and they make sure that those tea growers have a living wage and that they are able to sell their product at a specific cost. Like they're not going to lose, if the tea prices go up and down, it's the same cost, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to starve out our farmers, right?
Yeah.
That's important for
We
us.
can't grow tea here, so...
Yeah, exactly. We need them,
need
right?
it
So they're
somewhere,
they're part of something called the Ethical Tea Partnership. So they've actually joined into that. So that's really sure. Yeah, it's really neat. Yeah.
All right, well, all of these products will be available starting July 1st. You can get them on the Hub's website, which is the ashcrofthub.perfectmind.com. Click on the products tab. All of the teas will be there with the description, and you can just place your order and help the Hub reach its fundraising goals to help and continue to provide services and create some new opportunities potentially in town for some community fun. Thanks for coming in, Beth.
Thank you for having me. It was great to be here.
Awesome. Thank you, Jessica and Beth. So before we get into the fun stuff today, let's go through the not so fun stuff, the COVID numbers first. As of Thursday, we have 201 cases still in the interior with 2,940 province-wide, 177 total deaths, 160 currently active cases, and 24 new cases since Tuesday. There was a crash on Highway 1 near Ashcroft. Unfortunately, someone did die, a 51-year-old male, but his wife did make it through, so we wish her the absolute best. A man was caught that's for later. First time. So let's start with a tweet from Brad Viss, who tweeted saying, "Dear Governor General's office, I've been trying to contact your regional office during regular business hours, but can't even leave a voice message. Please have someone reach out to me at," his phone number, 604-814-5710. So if the Auditor General is watching this, please unblock Brad Viss. And in other news, the the Bonaparte Indian Band is going to be holding bingo. Exciting stuff on July 11th. It's starting at 11 a.m. It'll go to 2 p.m., but doors will be open at 10 a.m. So this is going to be held at the Tim Hortons. Behind it, there's a lot behind there. Should be pretty easy to find. So it'll be $5 per book of cards with 5 games being played. And the blackout pot is estimated to be about $200 with a maximum of 50 people. So this is going to be a first come, first serve. If you're not one of the 50 people who is there first, you're not going to be getting in, unfortunately. So I did some math for you guys. There is a 2% chance, if everyone has the same amount of books per game for you to win, with there only being 50 people, if you play all 5 games, there is a 10% chance of you winning. So if you like those odds, go play yourself some bingo. And another story, Royden Josephson's art show is on as of yesterday. You can go visit it. It is across the street from Safety Mart. I'm sorry, the name of that building eludes me. So 50% of the proceeds go towards the food bank. Now, you don't have to pay to get in, but 50% of the proceeds, that is coming from people who actually buy art. The Ashcroft Art Club also has a website that you guys can go visit for all of you art heads out there. You can visit their website just by looking up Ashcroft Art Club, and this closes on July 10th, so make sure to go and visit that before July 10th. So we have a small snippet of Royden Josephson's art gallery here that Troy and Gareth went out to go get, so enjoy that.
Recording. Good evening, I'm Royden Josephson. Welcome to my retrospective show called Get Physical. And I may explain the title a little bit as we go along a little later. I think the first painting we're going to look at is one called The Fall, which was painted in 2001. Started in September and was painted actually before the 9/11 in New York. So it's a little bit, I don't think I'm prescient, but there it is. The next painting we're looking at is called La Ciudad, and it is based on the experience from Mexico City. I don't often or paint from particular scenes, from travels, but sometimes elements pop up. For instance, in this one you will see lots of pink. There's lots of pink in Mexico City from workers. The municipal workers wear pink uniforms as they sweep the streets. Taxis are pink. And of course the turquoise is also a very popular color in Mexico City. And you will also see a pyramid in there, which could have reference to the Teotihuacan pyramid just outside of Mexico City, which we visited. Okay, now we're going to have a look at some of the work inside. I should mention that the name of the gallery here is the Sidewalk Gallery and the Extension, owned by Angela Bandelli, and I want to thank her for suggesting and putting up this show, putting up with me and putting the show up with me, and also Rob, who owns the building where he manufactures his product, roll gear screwdrivers. If you don't have one, you should get one. Now, this painting, it's not a painting. This is a charcoal called the Graces, and it is one of two charcoals in the show. This is from 2017, after returning from a trip to Sweden, where I have some relatives, and there's a nice little farm there, and these cows would come and investigate, and so I took the picture and then drew them when we got home. Okay? Now we're moving into the extension gallery again. In 2017 also, we made a trip to Sable Island, which is described as a little smile of sand in the North Atlantic. And it's famous for its wild horses. There are a number of horses there, I think anywhere from 200, 400 horses. I can't remember exactly. It varies anyway over the years, but they've been there. The herds have been there for a long time. The island is not populated by any humans except for research scientists and that sort of thing. Nobody lives there. You can't just go there. You have to have permission. It's a national park now and a World Heritage Site. So these horses are wild. They roam freely in groups. And this painting is called the Diviner. A stallion will have his little family of mares and foals, and they'll fight for their territories like other wild animals. The island has some fresh water sources, but sometimes they dry up, and the horses can divine. They can find water in the sand, and they'll scoop it out until they get a little bit of fresh water. In dire circumstances, they can even drink some of the seawater. That doesn't happen often. A bronze sculpture. There are two, one bronze sculpture in the show that I have here, and I have two ceramic sculptures that have been bronze coated. This is cast bronze, lost wax method of casting. It was done in Truro, Nova Scotia in 2004. After I left Ashcroft in 2003, went to Nova Scotia College of Art and Design for 6 months, took some work there, and while I was there, I made these bronze sculptures. This is one of a series of an edition of 6. Okay, now we want to look at the largest painting in the show, which was done in 2009. The title of this one is The Late Show. Titles are always kind of a tricky thing. They usually come after, almost always come after the painting is completed, as was the case with this one, called The Late Show after a program that I used to listen to on CBC radio. You'll see that it is has a number of architectural elements which are not deliberate. What I mean by that is I start a painting with some mark making and a lot of paint over, and when I see something, it develops into a shape. And so then the theme is developed. In this case, it's architectural, and I hope somewhat mysterious in the painting. Okay, and we're going to look at this one, which is the only oil painting that I have in the show. Mostly I paint with acrylic. This was done, however, way back in 1965. And I think it might have happened one spring day when I was with a couple of friends in a little house in the middle of a Hutterite colony, and we had some refreshments and decided we were going to do some artwork, and I painted this while the house became an island as the water rose in the springtime, and it's palette knife painting, which I haven't really done anything since. Okay. There's a diptych here called 128 degrees west and and Avalon. It was painted after a trip that when I went to Nova Scotia, we drove out all the way across the country and then all the way back again. And in 2005, when we returned, I painted a series of paintings that were based on that return trip from all over Quebec, from Ontario, from Saskatchewan, Alberta. But this one was kind of the bookmark of the show, called Journey. Avalon, of course, is the Avalon Peninsula in Newfoundland, and all the way to 128 degrees west on Vancouver Island. The next one that I'd like to talk about, the next series, a series of 3 here, called The Farmer Feeds Us All, which is the name of I call it a guerrilla art project that I have been conducting since 2009. Started with this little image of the farmer on the tractor, which is based on my father, who had a John Deere Model D tractor, and I remember it all very well. And the idea is that the farmer, the motif of the farmer is put out there to remind people that where our food source comes from. And so there are a number of these throughout North America, Europe, Japan, Mexico, that I leave in place that are little stick-on tractors, the same size as this. They're all done from the same stencil. And if in this particular show, the Get Physical, farming is a very physical thing, and eating is a very physical thing. We're going to, I'm going to donate 50% of the proceeds of any and all sales here to the local food bank. Okay, and just maybe let me get back to talking about the Get Physical, of the title of the show. I was going to explain that. We're all going through this time now where we have to physical distance, or social distancing, and we have to resort to virtual openings, which are, I suppose, kind of good in a way, because you don't have to have all the people there and all the refreshments. But at the same time, it's kind of not as good. However, with the virtual being what we're relegated to now, we can still get into a gallery space to physically encounter the art, and that's, of course, the best way to do it. All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr.
Roden Josephson.
for the interview. It was awesome of you to let us come in. So, the Library Reading Club is going to be starting up again this year. Exciting stuff. It is going to be running from July 6th to August 29th. You can register online at www.bcsrc.ca. And if you're worried about social distancing, you are able to complete it online. So we have Gareth here in the studio who would like to share his story about the floods going on in Cache Creek. So take it away, Gareth.
Well, it's been a pretty interesting couple of days in Cache Creek, again, thanks to flooding. The flash flood took place not last night, but the night before. So we have a statement here from the village of Cache Creek that says, "We thought we were out of the woods finally with the flooding, but this unusual wet summer is causing waterways access across the province to swell and cause more headaches. After almost 2 months of watching the water levels go down in the Bonaparte River, a full day of rain on July 1st caused levels in both Cache Creek and the river to spike overnight. Early this morning, the creek breached the culvert on Quartz Road and sent water into the fire hall and cut a path through the Caribou Sand Park as it made its way downtown. The village brought in an excavator to clear the debris, that was choking the culvert, and the creek resumed its normal course through town until it emptied into the Bonaparte. Now, I went there yesterday morning. I took a little bit of footage. It was pretty muddy all around that particular swath of land that they were talking about. So on either side of the fire hall, all the way down to the Dairy Queen and across the highway. So it's interesting that we went away from snowpacks to flash floods. It was a pretty wet day on the 30th. So anyway, there are several places on evacuation alert down Old Caribou Road. So if that is you, the water has gone down quite a bit. I checked it out this afternoon on my way back into town. Did you play the videos? No? Okay. So we will have some footage of what the water was looking like after the actual flooding happened. I didn't know that the flooding was happening until the next morning, but we'll post that Monday. We'll post that Monday. And anyway, so everybody seems to be safe at this time. Thank you very much for the quick actions of the Cache Creek Council and village staff. And that's pretty much the story that I have for this particular show.
Okay, thank you for the update, Gareth. So, Jackie Taggart retweeted an important bit of information for those who have a loved one or maybe even just a close person in a long-term care home or an assisted living home. It is, sorry, let me just read this so I get all this right here. So they are looking to be making visits possible, social visits, in mid-July. Until then, it will be only people who are necessary to the survival of the individuals. So mid-July social visits should be made possible for those in long-term and assisted living care. In Ashcroft news, the pool is opening tomorrow. Just want to remind you all that if you are going to be going to the pool, please shower at home before going. And just be safe, everyone, and have a great time at the pool. It's an exciting thing that it's opening. So that is all that I have for you today. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Ash Creek News. And Josh White, wherever you are, I hope you are having an awesome day. Peace out.